SpaceX just did something Russia's spacecraft never could. While the IS was slowly falling back to Earth, Dragon fired its engines for 19 minutes straight and changed space history forever. 1. The moment that changed space history. This is where the story really begins. SpaceX didn't just launch another Dragon capsule, it became the leader of the entire space industry. The narrator says SpaceX is now the company that fixes problems when things go wrong. And this time, the biggest problem was not an astronaut. It was the International Space Station itself slowly falling back to Earth. The IS loses about 100 meters of altitude every single day because Earth's thin atmosphere drags it down, like air slowing a flying plane. Without help, the station would eventually burn up. For 20 years, Russia's Progress spacecraft handled this job. But now, Dragon just took over. 2. Why the IS was in real danger. We hear how carefully SpaceX plans every mission. Nothing changes unless there is a serious emergency. And that's exactly what the IS faced. The space station weighs 420,000 kilograms, that's like 70 full-sized buses flying around Earth at 28,000 km/h. Atmospheric drag is always pulling it down. If reboost does not happen, the IS will fall, just like a satellite losing power. Russia used to do 80% of all reboosts with Progress spacecraft. But delays, damage at Baikonur Cosmodrome, and Russia's plan to leave the IS by 2028 created a massive risk. One failure, and the entire station was in danger. 3. Dragon did what Progress never could. Dragon fires its engines for a 15-minute deorbit burn to slow down and return to Earth. Now imagine this. Instead of slowing down to come home, Dragon fired its thrusters for 19 minutes straight to push the IS forward. Progress only does short burns. Dragon did a continuous long-duration reboost while docked, something Russia's spacecraft has never done. This single burn added about 9 meters per second of speed, that's 20 miles per hour, equal to 1.5 Progress reboosts in one shot. That's 25% of the IS's yearly orbit maintenance done by one Dragon. 4. How SpaceX modified Dragon to make this possible. How Dragon is bigger, stronger, and more advanced than Russia's Soyuz. But here's the secret. SpaceX added a boost kit inside Dragon's trunk. They installed 2 rear-facing Draco thrusters pointing exactly in the direction the IS travels. Each Draco produces 400 newtons of thrust, about 90 pounds of push. Together, 800 newtons. That's stronger than Progress. Dragon also carries its own fuel and helium, so it doesn't steal fuel from the station. Fuel types: hydrazine, nitrogen tetroxide. They ignite on contact, no spark needed, like striking a match inside space. 5. Why this makes Dragon more powerful than Russia's Progress. Compare Dragon to Soyuz. Soyuz carries only 3 astronauts, lands hard, and is fully expendable. Progress reboost thrust, 500, 600 newtons. Dragon reboost thrust, 800 newtons. Dragon is more powerful, A&D more efficient. Progress burns short because it overheats. Dragon has thermal heaters, so fuel doesn't freeze or boil. That's why Dragon can fire for 19 minutes continuously. One Dragon now replaces multiple Russian spacecraft. 6. The geopolitical shockwave. How SpaceX had to rescue astronauts because Boeing and Russia failed. This is bigger than rescue. Russia plans to leave the IS by 2028. Progress delays are rising. Before Dragon IS had 1 point of failure. Now one Dragon tell 1/3 of all yearly reboost needs. 3 to 4 Dragons per year curve full independence. IS orbit maintenance is now commercial, not political. SpaceX just ended Russia's monopoly in space. 7. Dragon didn't just save the IS, it tested the future. Starship and how SpaceX is pushing launch costs down. But this Dragon mission wasn't just about today. Every reboost burn is secretly testing something much bigger. The futurist deorbit vehicle. NASA already gave SpaceX $843 million to build a spacecraft that will safely push the IS into the Pacific Ocean when it retires. CRAS-33 is real-world testing, long-duration thruster firing, fuel behavior in vacuum, thermal cycling, guidance accuracy pushing 420,000 kg. This data cannot be simulated on Earth. SpaceX is literally getting paid to test its future hardware. 8. Why reboost is life or death for the space station.
You're getting a live look inside the cabin right now. That's Crew 11 preparing for their re-entry period. This view is over the shoulder of...
We see the parachutes deploy. That splashdown only happens if the orbit is perfectly controlled. Without reboost, the ISS would re-enter uncontrolled, meaning debris could hit cities. NASA wants to deorbit the ISS near Point Nemo, the spacecraft cemetery in the South Pacific. Dragon's reboost proves SpaceX can guide huge spacecraft safely. Exactly what NASA needs for the final deorbit mission. 9. Business genius. How SpaceX gets paid twice. NASA pays SpaceX for cargo delivery, ISS reboost, SpaceX gains, deorbit flight data, propulsion performance models, future vehicle validation. It's like NASA paying for SpaceX's research lab in orbit. That's business genius. And here's the crazy part. Every dollar NASA spends today is secretly building tomorrow's Mars ship. Dragon isn't just a cargo capsule anymore. It's a flying test bench for Starship's future engines, guidance, and long-duration burns. SpaceX isn't just earning money, it's buying the future with it. 10. The end of Russia's space monopoly. Starship is described as the future. Russia once controlled ISS survival. Now, Dragon is reusable. Falcon 9 is reusable. Progress is expendable. Soyuz is expendable. One Dragon does the work of multiple Progress spacecraft. Space dominance just shifted west. For decades, the ISS lived on borrowed time from Russia. One political decision could have shut everything down. Dragon just broke that chain forever. This isn't just a spacecraft upgrade, it's the moment space stopped being a hostage and became truly independent. 11. What comes next? The US takes full control.
Musk has also been clear that reaching that level of cost reduction will take massive industrial scale, not just better engineering. That is why SpaceX has started building a new large Starship factory with an estimated cost of around $250 million. This is not a traditional aerospace assembly line. It is designed more like an automotive factory, focused on speed.
NASA is now qualifying Cygnus for reboost. Soon, Russia is no longer needed for orbit maintenance. ISS survival is now an American commercial capability. This is only the beginning. Today it's Dragon, tomorrow it's Cygnus, and next it's Starship. For the first time in history, space infrastructure will be maintained by private companies, not superpowers. The ISS is becoming the world's first fully commercial space station. 12. Why CAS 33 will be remembered forever.
There we have visual confirmation of drogue deploy.
Visual, 2 healthy drogues.
Kind of a cool shot.
Copies.
I think we had the recovery vessel in the background there just momentarily. Main parachutes deploying in about 20 seconds. The main parachutes deploy when the vehicle is about 119 miles per hour and around 6,000 feet. There we can see visual confirmation of deployment of the 4 mains.
Visual, 4 healthy mains.
Splashdown of Crew 11. After 167 days in space, Dragon and NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Mike Fahey of JAXA and Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Platonov are back on Earth.
Crew 11 splashes down safely. That safe return exists because Dragon mastered guidance, propulsion, long-duration burns. CAS 33 proved Dragon is no longer just a cargo ship, it's the engine that keeps the ISS alive. Years from now, when the ISS is safely guided into the Pacific, historians will point back to this mission. CAS 33 will be remembered as the day SpaceX proved it could control the destiny of a 420-ton space station. This wasn't just a mission, it was a turning point for humanity in orbit. Final thoughts. SpaceX's Dragon didn't just perform another routine mission, it completely rewrote the rules of spaceflight. For more than 20 years, Russia's Progress spacecraft was the backbone of ISS orbit maintenance, quietly keeping the station alive by pushing it higher whenever Earth's atmosphere dragged it down. But when delays, political tension, and aging infrastructure put that system at risk, SpaceX stepped in and did what Progress never could. Dragon fired its engines for 19 minutes straight while docked, delivering a sustained, powerful reboost that replaced multiple Russian missions in a single burn. That one maneuver now covers up to a quarter of the ISS's yearly orbit needs. Even more importantly, it proved that the future of space is no longer controlled by geopolitics. It's controlled by engineering, innovation, and reusability. CAS 33 quietly became the test flight for the East deorbit vehicle, the blueprint for how humanity will safely retire the largest structure ever built in space. SpaceX didn't just save the ISS, it secured its future. SpaceX didn't just beat Russia, it changed who controls space itself. From reboost to deorbit, Dragon is now the machine that decides the future of the International Space Station. Space history is being written right now, and you're watching it happen. Subscribe for more space stories, breakthroughs, and missions that are changing the future.